Welcome to Flip the Script with Vic, a sacred space for honest, unfiltered, and sometimes taboo conversations between women walking the path of truth, healing, and soul remembrance. What started as my personal exploration has become a communal prayer, a podcast devoted to amplifying women's stories in their own words. I'm your host, Victoria Nielsen, intuitive healer, mama, and space holder for the divine feminine. Here, we gather as cycle breakers, mothers, mystics, creatives, witches, and wild ones, flipping the script on what it really means to be a woman in today's world. Through raw interviews, intimate solo casts, and brave conversations, we'll chat about motherhood, mysticism, psychedelics, spirituality, and more. You'll be reminded that your voice matters, that your truth matters, that you're here to walk in beauty. So be the prayer, and let's flip the script. Are you ready? Let's jump on in. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Flip the Script with Vic. It's your host, Victoria Nielsen. I love my job. I love that I get to chat with the coolest women and that some of my mentors have become my dearest friends. And that's who I have on today, Lauren Love. I'm so excited you're here. You're beyond labels. You're a coach and a guide and a projector and just a really funny, fucking amazing human. So thank you for being you.
I have a confession. I'm just going to start. I have a confession. So, yeah, I know you're a mushroom girly, so you'll totally relate. I did a very large dose of mushrooms several days ago, and I feel like it's still lingering in my field.
Yes.
So
I took a microdose this morning.
Okay, let's just presence in the field the amazing plant allies. But I do feel it. So you're like, who am I without labels? I'm already like tripping into the ether of the dialogue. So
I love that that's where I went to, though, because the plants know. Especially this morning. I've never, by the way, done an interview on like a microdose day. I always intentionally do them on like non-days. But this morning I had a feeling like I was like, it's Lauren. It's fine. Just take your microdose, girl. You're good.
Let's have some fun. Well, I just feel like when you're with people who I just went and saw Florence and the Machine this past weekend, which was holy shit, amazing. But I went with a really good friend of mine and we were trying to discern okay, do we are we going to drink at this concert? Are we going to do mushrooms? Are we going to do edibles? Like what's the vibe? And when you're with somebody
All three.
Yeah, yes, that's the answer. Yes. But just to say, when you're with people who also work with the medicines, it just feels really cool to be able to socialize in the frequency of the plants. So I'm just here for wherever we go today, and I'm really happy we get to dialogue.
Yay. Because I know you're willing to go there. And, we were talking kind of backstage before we started recording, and I know that we're going to talk about the taboo stuff that we're dealing with and that we're tackling. And, addiction was a thing that kind of came to the forefront because you very openly and very honestly recently shared you were going to quit using your husband's vape. And I'm really curious how that's going and how the open and honest owning of it has been, because I definitely feel like I have some addictive patterns that are coming up recently that I don't want to own yet. And I'm like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want anyone to know.
How
still my dirty little secret.
Yeah. How dare you show the world you're human. Yeah. It's funny because in my path, there was this season, I would say maybe 2020 era-ish for me, where spirituality was becoming this facilitator archetype, right? Where you're okay, I'm this girl in a white dress with a feather fan, literally with feathers behind me. It's just so funny. This is my Hawkwing fan. But yeah, it's just oh, this is me. And with that came all of these really high expectations on self. No, you're not supposed to drink alcohol. You don't ever tell people you eat French fries. You never go to McDonald's, God forbid.
You don't curse.
You don't curse. All these just weird things that became so super taboo. And I'm what am I, Catholic school again? It was just this really weird oppression because we're all trying to be perfect and legit healers. So anyway, long story short, I have had a very long, messy relationship with nicotine. I started smoking tobacco from the first year of my college. It was first year college. and went in and out of being addicted to cigarettes and then quit and then would start again and quit. And I can just have fun, and it was this vicious cycle for many, many years. And, I work with a lot of tobacco in ayahuasca ceremonies. And so that kind of brought it back into my field after many years, and then started to use it as a coping mechanism. So long story short, to answer your question, and we'll go wherever you want to go, I was using the vape aggressively as a bottle, like a baby uses a binky, for like, I don't know, a year. Oh my God. It was my husband's vape. It was my vape. Like, what am I, are you kidding? Like, this is my vape. But yeah, it's going really well. I had a little bit of a slip up when I went on family vacation and was needing to cope. But besides
Understandable.
that, oh, thank you. Thank you. Yes. Besides that, I've been free, and I'm not on the patch anymore. I actually was able to get off the patch entirely. So yeah, take us where you want to go with that. I'm so here for it.
No, I'm proud of you. And I'm also like the honesty of like, yeah, I had a slip up and I went back to it. And because I think there is a lot of shame in having these addictions, and really a lot of it is not our fault in the sense that we were not conscious when these patterns were either projected onto us or formed, or there was some type of trauma, right? And we were talking before too about how like we're coming back to the root issue of stuff, and that like we've done so much healing now for however many years, but we're coming back to like the core stuff that is there for us. And no wonder we need like our nicotine like a baby bottle, or we're leaning on this thing, or we thought it was gone. Like that's what it was for me. Like I have had disordered eating for a really long time, like since college, honestly. If I'm really honest, it was when I found out I was going to have a baby brother. I was 20. I'd been an only child for
No
20 years.
way.
And all of a sudden, like anyway, I didn't think they were going to have any more kids or have kids at all. And they did. And I just kind of spiraled out of control. And to me, that was the thing I could control, was like what I was putting in my body or what I was eating.
Wow.
And like, it was never formally diagnosed, like nothing like that.
Well,
But it's
what
interesting
did
to
it bring up
see.
for you though? I'm so curious. Like but having a
Well,
baby
like
brother.
recently, it feels like the doing the mushrooms again. There's some days I feel like my vices come up, which is really interesting. Like I'll do a microdose one day and feel like I want to drink, when normally I don't ever really crave or want a drink.
Mm.
So it was kind of a side effect, I feel like, maybe of a microdose protocol, that I didn't realize was happening at the time. And I kind of got into a loop of like of binging and purging essentially, and it was
Wow.
like, oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay. Like,
Yeah.
are we 19 again? Like what's going on here?
Yeah, but
But
it's
it was like,
interesting you're saying
hadn't
that.
gotten to the root.
Yeah, because like it's 19-year-old self, both of us. That's so weird. It's like both. I wonder if that's what's happening. Because like how old are you?
I'll be 37 next month.
I'm 37. Wow. Okay. Crazy.
So yeah, maybe it is like, I don't know, some time in astrology, or who knows, where
It
like these things
could
get brought back
be.
up.
Well, I've been really moving through this study of a word. I don't know about you, but I used to hate the word compassion. Like the word compassion would make me vomit. Like I hated that word so much. Compassion. Like it was just so irritating to me.
I don't think I've ever had contempt for a word, but
Oh my God. Yo, you want like to blow your mind on how you study yourself, study words. Like, how do I relate to this word? What does this word mean to me? Like, just one word at a time. So, this concept of compassion, like, really trying to understand that when we have these vices of distorted behavior where we're using like artificial regulators, I kind of think binging and purging is an artificial regulator. I think that it is
honestly, it
truly
is. It's like it's doing something to your body that's making
correct.
you feel more safe or more in control or what
Correct.
have you. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. The shame that we have around grabbing artificial regulators is so constructed by our climate and our global world, right? Like we're taught, hey, like drug addicts are really dirty, horrible people, right? Like I remember those upbringings from when I was really, really young. Or like any girl who has a weird relationship with food, that's a very shameful thing. Like you should be embarrassed by that. So there's a lot of this weird conditioning of how we like personalize our own selves, and what I really resonate when I started to study all of this, Gabor Mate and like his work in addiction therapy and what he talks about is mind blowing to me that, you know, everything that you're doing is an adaptation to try and meet a need and to soothe yourself. And can we actually just be okay with that and not be angry, like, how dare you smoke the vape, or how dare you? He even talks about it like people who try to commit suicide, like there's a part of you that is doing that to try to help yourself. Can you acknowledge that, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's where I was like, oh, okay, like I'm trying. I'm actually trying. And
Well, it lets you release, I think, some of that shame or some of that stigma of it, or again, getting to the root of it and realizing, oh, I'm self-soothing. So what in this moment
mm,
is dysregulating me? What is,
yeah.
causing this? Like, what is, because there is always a cause, right? Whether it's external or internal, that I think triggers it. And a lot of it for me is between being conscious and unconscious, because there are
Yeah.
a lot of times I can be, or have been, I should say, really unconscious in my everyday life. And then it's like you're almost doing things from rote or from routine or from habit, and like
Mm,
for the cigarettes, I mean, I could totally relate to that in the sense of smoking weed, because there's been moments where I've been smoking way too much, but
mm,
it's part of it, yes, is the disassociation. I feel like a little bit, and not wanting to be present where you are, perhaps needing that self-soothing, right? But there is a bit of it that's also that like habitualness
correct.
of having it, and getting to do whatever ritual you have with it. Like, I know for me, when I was smoking weed, it's like, oh, I get to go outside, I don't have to deal with the kids. It's quiet,
Yeah.
I get to look at the trees and the sun and have this moment. And so it's like giving it a different perspective to realize, like, okay, you needed this moment of self-soothing, you're
Mm,
acknowledging that. But then, hey, how can you break this habit or this pattern where you're still able to self-soothe yourself, but maybe in a way that's less damaging to like your
correct.
body or to your psyche or to what have you?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure, just like vaping, throwing up is not the greatest for your system.
No, I mean all of it is really difficult um to overcome, and to also recognize like it comes with its own set of difficulties when that's the way in which you're walking, right? Like, so for me with like using the vape all the time, like my third eye was kind of like blocked at times. I was having a really difficult channel opening process. I was like, what's going on? Like, why can't, it was like my pineal gland was all fucked up. And then like, you know, recognizing that my jaw was like super tense, and I do so much vocal activation work in my own shamanic stuff with myself, but also with clients. And so that was really challenging. And, you know, my body, I think our bodies just always tell us, like, hey, this is not really the best idea, right? But for me, when I look at like all of those behaviors that are manifesting, I'm so curious for you. I think the reason that these things are coming back is because they're unprocessed from the end of our hormonal cycles, and we're now entering these like perimenopause era seasons. You know what I mean? So it's
My
like,
whole body is like
right?
agreeing with this. I mean, it is. It's like our
Yeah.
body's like, all right, bitch, this stuff has to come out
Yeah, remember
because
this? Here we go. Don't forget.
like we're going to this. No, that's really, wow, that's really significant. And I think really true,
Hmm.
because we were just coming into our womanhood back then.
Correct.
We were just coming into our bodies and like
Yeah.
who we were.
Uh-huh. And
And
everything's
then
now like you didn't finish it. So now we're gonna like pick up and like continue. That's why the nicotine for me, that was like that was the era. Like that 19 was like so much happened for me, right? So it's yeah, coming back into this full circle
was there
processing.
anything over the last like year though that, or I guess before, that had made you start to smoke like a chimney? Like, was it like
Yeah.
the expansion of eyeballs on you and your social platform and stuff?
Good question. Yeah, I mean, I think it was a number of things. First of all, I have a very, very bad, I'm going to say this with compassion, but I have a bad tendency to fawn. And I have this one of my trauma patterns is I'm a fawner, right? So I will appease and please till the cows come home and say yes to everything. And like, you know, every opportunity I'm always saying yes to. And oftentimes it could be this place of me that really wants to grow, but it's this other place of me that's like, I don't want to disappoint people. So, you know, my schedule, I was not listening to my body. I was pushing myself like last year I was on the road like 30% of the year, which
Wow.
was, that's a lot of time, right?
Oh, that's a
30%.
lot. I mean, that's more than you're gone for more than 3 months of the year, essentially.
It was a
Like, that's
lot.
wild.
It was a lot. Yeah.
And you're a
And
projector. You need to rest.
I
Like,
know. And I got none of it. So I was doing that. I was also, most of that work on the road was facilitating ceremonies. So I had a lot of other people's energy in my field. And I was also, my business was blowing up at that time and everything was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So all of my containers were growing and all of my client roster was expanding. And I was just allowing it. Like, that's the thing. Like, I don't know how you feel about this. I feel like 90% of the way that like my body needs help, where I'm like not sleeping or I'm smoking or I'm doing this or that, is because of the fact that like we're in this Western culture of like idealized leadership where it's like, say yes to more, do more. I don't want to fucking do more. Like,
no, I'm
I
doing
don't.
enough.
I'm
I'm
doing
doing
enough.
enough. Thank you. I want to do less, actually. Less, please.
Yes. Yes. So I think that's what was doing it. I was just not listening to my body and not paying attention. And now, like, the basic roots of my time are spent really advocating for my nervous system, learning my nervous system, getting to know my nervous system. And it's been a very tender time, I will say, in that process.
Mm.
But yeah, what about you when you look at it? What was the
No,
last
I mean,
year?
I think like I was just thinking about the tender time in the nervous system. I was like, oh, like precious
Yeah.
you.
Oh, baby me, just baby me.
Baby Lauren. No, but I mean, I wholeheartedly agree. Like, I really do. And it's so funny. I feel like the mushrooms are working. So I'm like, what were we even talking about? I'm like, huh?
I know, no, for sure, because it's everything. It's all of it. It's overworking is a mess. All these
Yes.
coping
Oh, it's boundaries.
behaviors.
That's what I had been thinking about while you were talking was that like when we
Ooh.
reach for these things, in particular, I feel like weed or nicotine or those kinds of substances, it's because we're trying to expand our boundaries because we
Wait, tell me
have.
more.
So like I've realized when I go to smoke, a lot of the times I don't have the capacity for the thing I need to go do. Like I'm actually tapped out. I'm tired. But I'm like, oh God, I gotta go make dinner. I gotta
If
go
I
do whatever. Like
smoke.
I'll just take a hit. I'll go. I'll be good. Well, then that pushes me already past I set the boundary. I didn't really want to do it. Okay, well, I did it anyway. Now I'm even more tired because I used the weed to push past that boundary that I had. And then maybe I
Mm.
do it again one more time before the kids go to bed, whatever time it is, depending. Well, then by the end of the day, I push past like what are my boundaries even? There are none because I have just continued to push through them and I've continued to use this substance to like get me through, if that makes sense. And then by the end of the day, I'm screaming at everybody because I'm tired. I
Mm.
should have stopped, not that I should have stopped smoking, but I should have stopped extending my boundaries a while ago. Like instead of going to smoke and saying yes to doing dinner and the dishes and whatever, I should have just said, no, I don't have the capacity for that, and then just not done it. And then we would have been fine.
And then the world would have been fine. Everything would have been great. No, I listen. I hear you. Yeah, I hear you. It's like I what that brings up a lot of sadness in me when I hear you say that, just because I identify with it so much. Like I understand that so deeply, where my body is at a brink. Like, let me go smoke the vape really quick, take a hit, I could push through. And instead of grounding my body, I would push it away and make it. And I was doing that with coffee for a while in my life, where I would drink a ton of coffee and get really high peak performance. And then I
I'm
would
sure, but like, oh my God.
I know. And then I would drink alcohol to like bring myself down. A lot of people do that. A lot of
No, they
moms
do.
do that as
It's
like a routine thing. That was a
Mhm.
hard era. I do not recommend it. But, it makes me sad because it's like this is like conscious violation of self. Like we're like, okay, I know body doesn't want to do that.
When you say it like that.
Yeah, right? That's what it is. It's conscious violation of self. And we're choosing that. Like that's why can't we just say no? What's the issue? I don't understand.
No, why have women been taught to push past
Why
everything that
could
we
I just
know?
say no?
Like to not listen to ourselves, but
So
listen to
wait,
everyone around us.
so what trips you up the most? Because you have, by the way, I saw your Instagram video and I was like obsessed. The you're
That
like
me screaming about the kids in the
standing on the
neighborhood.
chair with a walkie. Was that your voice or were you anchoring that from a lip sync?
No, it was from someone else's audio, but I
Man,
totally could have said that.
I thought it was you. I'm like, this is badass. Oh my God.
Because it really annoys me. We're going to go on a side tangent here, but I
Yes,
really
please.
hate when people's mouths don't match to their like TikTok sounds.
Oh,
Like,
for
and then
sure.
they still blow up anyway. Like, I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, you acted like you didn't even try. Like, maybe do one more take. Like,
Yeah,
it's
you
okay.
didn't even try. You tried. You nailed it. You
Thank you. I only did it in
succeeded.
2 takes. That's how I know it's good is like if I don't overthink it, if I let myself be inspired. Because I totally saw, I mean, another woman did like a very similar thing. And so I was like, oh, I could do that. And then like I just like put the chair up and I
But
did
the
it.
way you did it was great. Like the
Thank
little
you.
microphone. Oh my
Yeah.
God. It was rock star status. Rock star status. Florence and the
I
Machine
love
would
it.
have been so proud of you. It was
Oh
like
my God, I
epic
love it.
performance.
Oh God, I love
Um,
Florence in the Machine.
it
But you
was
were
so
asking me
good.
about the kids. I don't know what you were gonna say.
Yeah, no, I was asking like you cross your boundaries, like, where is that happening in your life? Like, where do you notice that happen? I notice it happen with my husband a lot. Um, and client work too. Like, where do you feel it where you're like consciously disrespecting
Oh,
yourself,
disrespecting yourself. I
pushing
feel like I've
yourself, you
gotten
know?
better on the client side because for sure I was the overgiver or like I
Mm.
would feel like I didn't deliver enough to you. And so I would throw like 10 million things into your package. I mean, a prime example, like when I first launched my Radiant program, which I love, I was going to like build you a podcast, like all the technical aspects, ideation, all this stuff for like $4,000. And I'm like, what? Like that's
What?
insane. Like I'm not even
What?
valuing my time. Like who am I? No. So it's like I thankfully I feel like I learned those lessons pretty quickly in the client or now I have because I'm like I that doesn't make any sense energetically. Like that doesn't feel good for me. That's not going to feel good for them. Like I should just charge the premium if that's what's going to take to make me feel like, it's an energetic exchange for my work. But for sure, family and the kids is hard because sometimes you're
How
stuck
many do you
solo
have?
parenting, sometimes like you have the energy of your spouse that you have to like also co-regulate and deal with.
Hmm.
That's the interesting dynamic too is like, yes, I'm reparenting myself, but then I can also see like the things that are coming up for my spouse, and then you have things coming up for your kids. So it's almost like whack-a-mole sometimes. I feel like with my boundaries where it's like depending on how everyone else is, it can be amorphous. And that's when I've had to learn to be a lot firmer because especially with the kids, then I end up yelling. And then I end
Mm.
up hating myself and then it ends up being this cycle. And so now I'll start to say like, no, I'm not going to do that. Or no, I don't have the space for that. Or no, that's not the best thing for our entire family. So let's like sit and rethink that.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's
yeah.
hard because you want to be patient with them, or I definitely want to be patient with them. And like there are days they just push and push and push and push. And like, yeah, what's a boundary? Like what's personal space? Like, they're getting
Yeah.
older, it's getting better, but it can be a lot.
How many do you have?
Two, but we're gonna start trying for the third soon because we're crazy.
Oh my
So
God, that's exciting. Good luck with that.
thank you.
I
Thank
mean
you.
that in like a beautiful way
I
and
know.
also in
No,
like a,
really though, but I
oh, here
have
we
worries
go.
some days. I'm like, how are we gonna have the energetic capacity for this? Like,
Mm.
but I do think as you rise in your level of leadership and of who you are, your energetic capacity expands.
Oh, for sure. For
And so I
sure.
think that's also why sometimes these like addictive cycles that we were talking about, I feel like they show up because when you do clear them, the like growth on the other side is like crazy exponential. Or it's like the
Yeah.
last little thing, right, to tip the rest of the dominoes to get you where you need to go.
Yeah, and I think too it's a indication of something beautiful happening also. Like I feel like my family vacation, great example. Like my sister has she has three kids, and I don't know why I said two. She has three, and it feels like seven because there's just like so much happening.
Well, if you're not used to kids, their energy, like when my sister-in-law comes, I could tell by the end of the day, like she's just exhausted being around us. Like,
There's there's this Instagram reel that's like I feel very seen in it. It's like an aunt in on the kitchen table, our age, and it's like my sister when she comes to visit my sister who doesn't have kids when she comes to visit, and there's toys all over the table, and she's just like dead face, like holding the toy, numbing out, disassociated in her eyes. And it's just like this zoom in on her. And I'm like, that's very accurate. And there's all this chaos going around. But yeah, like being with my family that week, like that was a very expansive immersion for me, and my nervous system was pushed to completely new edges of capacity. And it was a very intense time. It was very difficult for me in many ways, also very beautiful, but also very difficult, you know. And I needed a baba, I needed a binky, like I needed something. And you know, I don't I would love to be able to walk out of that experience and be like, I'm so proud of myself. I didn't do anything wrong. You know, like that would be great, but like that's not my life, you know? Like
No, we're
it was
human.
hard and I'm human and I needed some help. So like, you know, I did hit the vape and I did have some wine at dinner, and like I don't think that's like such a bad thing. Like
I know.
it's all of the spiritual judgment, I think, that really makes us feel ashamed about these things. And it's just really annoying and unfortunate that that exists in a field that's supposed to be all love and light and acceptance. It's very interesting.
No, it is. Because back to your earlier point of like, the wearing all white and all of that, like, I feel like when you first awaken, like, that's almost not what you're indoctrinated into, but like, you kind of almost feel like you have to. And then it's finally that
Mm.
you find your people and you break the spiritual mold. And some people don't, but I feel like that's the fun of it then, is finding out like, okay, what's the exact opposite that I could do that is going to feel better? Well, or what's the middle ground? Like that's more to me. Like
Mm.
I've never been a black and white gal. I'm always a gray area gal. So I love that you're like, yeah, I needed a glass of wine. And yeah, I leaned on this. Like I think that's totally, totally okay. And like, again, being aware of yourself, right? Like
Mhm.
I think were the one that talked about this during maybe Conscious Creator Mastermind, but like you were like, it's okay to binge Netflix and
Yeah.
like zone
Yep.
out, but be conscious about why you're doing it. Like
Correct.
notice why you're doing it. That like it's totally fine if you need these things, but just be aware that you
Mhm.
do. And then you know what? To your point, like if you're okay with needing the baba, then who gives a fuck what anyone else thinks? But that's another step to enlightenment, right? Like you get to the, oh, I'm
Yeah.
okay that I have the baba. Okay, now I need to get okay with everyone else not being okay that I have the baba, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's also like I went through this really deep. So like last year, I at the end of last year, I kind of had that realization that I was beyond the edges of my capacity and outside of my window of tolerance completely. Like I was shutting down. It was a very, very difficult time, just realizing how much I was holding and how much schedule I had on my plate and how many obligations were up front and center. And my body was suffering, and I could feel myself really needing this pause. So I made this decision that from, I think it was end of September to March, I was not going to travel. I was not going to do any new creation. I wasn't going to do any new business ventures. I was just going to sit with myself. And like, if you know anything about Connecticut in the wintertime, it's awful. Like it's just horrendous. Like the sun is never out. Everything is sad. Everything's dead. And I have a very long driveway where it snowed a lot and we couldn't get out of the house for days. So I had to sit with myself over and over and over again. And I got to tell you, like I was not the greatest company. Like this is like horrendous energy. Like I was so I felt like I was withdrawing. Like I felt like I was going through this like near death experience. I was having a whole ego death, right? And my husband is telling me, he's like, you're just learning. Like in Alcoholics Anonymous, they talk about your addictions as your baba, and he said you're learning how to like live without your baba. And I'm like, what is my baba? Because I'm like still using the vape. I'm still like doing all these things. Like, what do you mean I'm learning to like work without it? What's my baba? And he's like, being important.
Mm.
And it hit me. I was like, fuck. Like, that's my
And
addiction.
important like being needed or important like being famous?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah, both. I realized in that time that I had this like deep seated desire to be needed by others, to serve a purpose, to be devotional, right? To be important. And the recognition that I had been getting prior to that pause, like being able to, I was stepping away from that. Like I was on a roller coaster high and I was like, bye, who will I be when I get back? Will I matter? Will people pay attention? Like it was a really scary emotional experience. But, I realized there was this deeper addiction underneath that was making that those other addictive patterns show up, because my deep seated addiction was, I need to be needed. So I'm going to push myself outside of my boundaries. I'm going to exhaust myself. I'm going to overwork. I'm going to go, 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 go. Let me use the vape to cope. Right. So that was like really interesting to see what was underneath it, and then making conscious decision to break that pattern. That's what led me, once that pattern wasn't there, that's where I was like, I don't really want to vape. Like, I want to stop this. I actually want to stop this. It was fucking hard in my body, but I had the true desire to want to stop that once the undertone, the underpiece was gone.
Yeah. Well, and I think that true desire is necessary. Without it, you're not going to stop.
No.
Or, to me, sometimes I feel like personally I need a consequence to stop things occasionally. Like, not always the biggest bang on the head, but like something, like when I was smoking too much earlier this year, like I got bronchitis. Like that was the universe being like, girlfriend, like you have to stop, and to your point, like our body always knows and our body always remembers, and continuing to tap into the coping mechanisms is fine, of course, but when you have all this outside noise, like you're never going to hear what's inside. So like I loved that you had the courageousness to walk away and say like, no, this is what I have to do. And it's so funny. Like, of course, we're the main character in our own story. So we think everyone else cares that like when we exit the stage, like everyone's going to be so sad and like clamoring for our return. And like, yes, we're wonderful and we are important, but like no one notices you're gone.
I know.
It's usually the comeback. Like, it's like this, the first time you post, like coming back, or at least that's how it feels for me. Is like, like, oh yeah, like, and then all the love's still there, all the, everything. It's like, we just get so caught up in our heads. And like,
I know.
I don't know about you, but that's the place that I've had to make like the most friends with, the most like internal struggle with is always my mind. Because I have the willpower and the strength to overpower a lot. And I used to think of it as my enemy, truly. And now I've realized it's not my enemy.
Your
it's
mind,
my friend.
you mean? Your
yeah, process? Kind of like, and way? I do think I had, so this is like really kind of random and interesting. I had my most recent past life, I, died of like schizophrenia because this is such a crazy story. I, had, I think syphilis. Yeah, I had syphilis. I didn't know it. And so like if it goes untreated, you can like,
oh yeah, it makes you crazy,
mentally insane or whatever. Yeah. So that's what happened to me. And so I think I've carried some of that I just always had this weird worry of like going insane, or this weird worry, especially like if I was doing like a lot of drugs in my teenage years and things, that I was going to like alter my brain like irreparably, or like something was going to happen up there and that I was crazy or I was talking to myself. And so like, I think, I don't know, I just carried that for a long time. And when I finally realized like, no, it's not the enemy. Like when things come up, it's for a reason. It's to keep you safe. It's to help you move through. Or like you're connecting to these like energies outside of yourself. Like that conversation in your head, like isn't always just you. It's you and those around you.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because so can I share just like what I relate,
oh my God, of course,
what
please.
I relate to?
Yeah.
So it's just so funny. You're like, yeah, in a past life I had syphilis. Like like I feel like that
people maybe
like,
don't believe it, but I've had so many like that whole past life thing, a bunch of things have happened that are really weird that I'm like, okay, that's strange. Like a girl in high school called me syphilis. I've never had syphilis, by the way, never. But it was a friend of mine. It was a joke on the JV soccer team. We all called each other STDs. Don't ask me why. So then when I hear this story years later from someone that doesn't know this and is like, you died of syphilis, like I'm like, what the fuck?
That's really funny. Well, I mean, that's when it's like, it's a definite truth, like it has to be. It's just
I
hysterical.
Think so. Yeah. But anyway, what were you going to say?
So syphilis makes you cray cray, like for sure. So yeah. And actually, just this is a side note, but I had Lyme disease, and Lyme bacteria are very similar to syphilis bacteria. They're spirochete. Like they're called spirochete, and they look like syphilis. So it's just funny. Anyway, but on the topic of this particular conversation.
Not where we thought we were going today. Anyway.
I know. So you know what, the intro, I really think that the intro audio should be like, yeah, in a past life, I had syphilis. Like that should just be.
I'm going to make one reel like that, okay? Just one. I don't know if I'll have the balls to post it, but
you really should.
I mean, you know what? I am. I'm going to post it.
Please do. It's so good. Yeah, no big deal. Just, syphilis. Oh, really? That's great. I had gonorrhea. Amazing.
Just showing all the listeners, like, just express, guys. It doesn't matter what you express or how you do it. Just express.
It's great. It's so great. Yeah, I got to remember what we were talking about because I really do feel like this was an important. Your mind going crazy. That's what it was. Yeah, your mind going crazy. So, yeah, it's interesting that you say that because when I started working with ayahuasca, I, at large doses, would touch into this place where I was going into a realm of my psychiatric history where I did have a psychotic break. Like I have actually had a psychotic break. It happened when I was 19, which is interesting because we're talking about the correlation to smoking, right? So like all of this is just, and thank you mushrooms. It's so beautiful. But like in that psychotic break, I got put in a psych ward. So I attempted suicide. The story, yeah. Everybody makes that face like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like I guess, and like also, it's victorious. Like I fucking lived amazing. Like I'm happy, like that was amazing that I could overcome that trauma at the time. But I was raped my freshman year of college, and then it was such a traumatic experience that I got like agoraphobia and got paranoia and overdosed to like make the thoughts go away. And so I ended up in a psych ward. And at the time there was this woman there. She came up to me and she's like, my name is Rosemary. And I was like, hi, I'm freaking me out. I'm 19-year-old girl, and this lady's like in her 40s, and she's like weird and wearing overalls. And she's just like, so I just want to tell you, Casper is raping Little Red Riding Hood in the sunroom. And that was my introduction to like the psychiatric facility, was this woman telling me.
Wonderful.
Yeah, wonderful.
After Casper, you're already like traumatized from your own.
I'm already having a trauma. This lady is off her rocker. Casper is raping Little Red Riding Hood in the sunroom. And I'm here for it. But it was really scary. And at that time, I was dealing with a lot of weird things. So it was even more scary to have that experience. So in my ayahuasca ceremonies, she was coming to me and like opening up this weird experience where I was feeling like I was on the brink of a psychotic break, where my mind was getting taken over and I was about to go crazy. And it was very, very scary for me. But what I realized in those initiations in the jungle with the medicine, these were parts of losing control in my life that I have such an immense amount of shame and fear around. And like the fear around losing control, the fear around, giving up your mind. Like, think about our whole human experience, how much we're out of control. Think about like all these things that we're doing because we feel out of control. We're already feeling out of control. Like, who gives a shit if somebody takes over my mind too? Like, I think it's just important to remember like the need for control, the desire for control, the wounding around control is such a complex thing. And it manifests as this fear often, I think, of losing our minds because we're afraid of losing control. That's really, I think, what it truly is.
I mean, like, honestly, it almost feels like everything can root back to that and maybe it does it come from this, I don't know where this is coming from now, I'm channeling it, who knows, but like, does it come from the severance from creator, that we're always like searching to be reconnected with creator, and so we don't feel complete until that connection is like reestablished? I literally have no idea where that just came from.
Yeah. Well, no, I resonate with that, right? And so we're feeling a sense of incompleteness out of fear, chasing, trying to create structure, safety, security.
Because when you're in line with creator, when you're in flow, when you're in, in that trust, right? Like, you're not doing all of those things.
No,
I feel like when I'm fully present, when I'm enjoying, when I'm like living my life, I'm not reaching for that for the weed. I'm not reaching for the
No.
whatever, like I'm there, I'm in it.
Yeah. I mean, maybe at the end of the day, it's like learning how to be comfortable with the uncomfortable, I guess. Maybe that's a part of it, you know?
I mean, it is. It's widening that window of tolerance, that you talked about. I feel like that's
Mm,
all we're ever doing as humans is like, how can we widen that window of tolerance? And how much uncomfortableness we can tolerate is equal in proportion to, right? I feel like the level
mm,
of not comfortableness, but if you think about it on the emotional spectrum, for example, like all of the sadness, you've got joy equally on the other side. So to me, it's like if you can go to that bottom of sadness, that well of sadness, wow, how deep that goes is how high your joy can go.
mm-hmm,
That
mm-hmm.
you can feel like that spectrum, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I mean, for sure. And also, too, just to add to that, I had this, I started going back to therapy, which was like amazing. Do you go to therapy?
No, so I did group in college, like a couple of sessions and a little bit of one-on-one work, but no, but it's funny, I've been considering it. I'm like, I'm like doing it on my own over here, and I'm like, but it might be nice to go to somebody.
Let me tell you, Rachel, my therapist, is the best. Okay. Like, gold star. Love her. She's right down the block from me. She's super cool. Older woman, just like very studied in a lot of different modalities, internal family systems, EMDR, and all this like beautiful knowledge gets to be woven into like an hour where it's just narcissistically all about me and I get to talk about all my feelings. It is great. No, but in our conversations, I was talking to her and I'm like, everybody online, I'm like, I'm so fucking fed up with all these conversations of like, I'm building my capacity. Like, I just want to have bigger capacity. And like, you just got to open up for bigger capacity. I'm like, I don't fucking want more capacity. Like, I don't want to have a bigger capacity. Like, and I was bitching about this to her. And, we kind of got to this realization as I was being sarcastic and playful about it. Like, yes, I do. There is this part of me that does love to grow and does love opportunity and does love saying yes to more and learning how to hold more. Yes, and sometimes the more is like, wow, I'm learning to say no, and that's such a big deal for me. Like sometimes that's the more, and sometimes it's
Yes.
like, I'm not going to push myself to that next level goal, and I'm going to learn how to appreciate what this goal that I've arrived at actually feels like. And no,
Integration.
yeah, I'm going to integrate it. So just to honor that too, like that other side of the journey of developing a bigger range. It's a bigger range of your own boundaries, a bigger range of your own no's, a bigger range of your own self care, slowness. Like that is also in truth as well.
Yes. Thank you for saying that because I feel like I've been leaning into a bit of a softening era in that way of like letting my husband take care of way more financial stuff than he ever has before and
So
like
good.
feeling like a kept woman, and like
Yeah.
it shifts your energy a bit. And I get that I'm very privileged to be able to do that. And that's, but that's what expanding my capacity looks like for me these days. And to your point, it's so funny. I'm never going to hear that again without your voice of being like expanding my capacity. Um, because you're right. It's so oversaid. Like it's so oversaid. But I really too
No.
like, and this is something that I remind or I try and remind people of all the time. Like you don't always need to be healing. You don't always need to be like on to the next thing, like always so self-aware, always so, like it's fucking exhausting. It's
Mm-hmm.
exhausting. And like especially with summer coming up, bitch, I had a mermaid summer last summer and I'm gonna do it again.
Wait,
And
what's a
like
mermaid summer?
where all I did was swim in the pool and I didn't worry about like healing or
No.
like no, I swam in the pool with my kids like literally 90% of the summer. Everyone was like, "You're so tan,"
It's
and I was
so
like, "Yeah,
good. It's
because
so
I've
good.
chosen that this is what I'm gonna do."
Do you
And
do you have a pool in
that's
your
it.
backyard or do you go to a local pool?
No, thankfully we traveled a lot last summer back home to Key West, like where my family is and stuff. So there was a lot
Wow.
of like, yeah, pool time
I
there.
need a
But no,
pool.
here we don't have one. I wish.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn. I have options. So mermaid summer, yes, totally on board for me. It's been naked forest bathing. Like that's what I do because I live I have so much property, so I just like lay around and enjoy the grass and get tan. completely naked, and it's wonderful. But I really do want a pool. So my options are kiddie pool. I actually get a kiddie pool and just lay in my kiddie pool in the backyard. Or I'll find
We
a
did that one
local
summer. It's
pool.
fun. Or
It is
you could put
fun.
it in the, you could do a redneck hot tub in the back of the truck.
Redneck hot tub. See, that is appropriate. I'm on board. I got to do something like that. I just need water. Water is so important, man. And yeah, I agree with you. Like, let the summer be a place of joy, and not everything has to be a project. Your life doesn't have to be a project. There's actually, like, if you study any of Pete Walker's work in complex post-traumatic stress disorder, he talks about this, how like the four patterns of fight, flight, freeze, and fawn, like one of them, the way that it manifests is by hyperfixating on fixing yourself so that you could one day be perfect. So like if you think you're like,
Mm.
oh, I'm developing myself, be careful what you see on the internet, because like 90% of it is just documenting trauma patterns that are being repeated in how we're caring for ourselves, and like over compulsion. It's really interesting. So yeah, pools and naked forest bathing. Yes.
Do your own research too, is what I was feeling from that too. As
Yeah, do
there's,
your own
there's just
research.
so much bullshit online lately, and like hearing
Mm.
you talk, I want to call out before we wrap up. Just like as you guys are listening to any of my guests, of course, but following reels on the internet, what have you, like vet your sources and stuff. Like Lauren's dropped out so much knowledge today because of how much education she has gotten. Like I think you
Mm.
did 4 different books that are like amazing to read, and like just be conscious of who you're working with, because there are so many people in the spiritual space that take one class and act like they know everything,
Oh
or
my God.
are just repeating, to your point, like trauma patterns, or re-traumatizing people, or really not qualified. Or I just do your due diligence before you give your money to a coach, a guide, a healer, what have you. Like just make sure that they hold space really, not even hold space like integrally, like just make sure they actually know what they're talking about.
Oh,
Like
yeah. Make sure they know what they're talking about. And also, like, make sure you do your best to know what your needs are prior to that space. So, like, yeah, Rachel, my therapist, like, what I needed was someone to just unpack all of my dark, dirty shit and, like, have her mirror to me. Like, that was what I needed. And there are other seasons where, I need, just as an example, I've been working to explore um, we talked about this, the spinal energetics,
oh
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so spinal energetics, cranial sacral therapy, like some of these practices that are working with the spine specifically, I've been trying to find the right practitioner. And I went to this woman, she got me on the table and she's like, oh, and I'm like, okay, this might not be what I'm looking for right now. Like it just like wasn't the vibe, like
Yeah.
wasn't the vibe. So just knowing what you're looking for also sometimes has to be discovered. But please be mindful, like, of what your trauma needs are as well. Like the person who's holding space for you, how are they going to do that? And is that actually what you need to feel supported? That's it. That's what I'll say. That's all.
I love it. Yay. Well, before we say goodbye to everyone, is there anything, any last words of wisdom, anything you want to shout
Mm.
out?
Oh,
We
yeah.
love you, mushrooms.
So, yeah, we love you, mushrooms. Thank you, los niños. That was super playful. Like, I just love the way that they can bring play into the space. And yeah, I have my ayahuasca retreats in Costa Rica. If anybody's called and wants to learn more, we have an educational video on the website, laurenoflove.com. We require all of our applicants to watch it, and it teaches you how to make, educated decisions about the spaces you're going to sit in. So if you are even interested in sitting with ayahuasca, fill out that application and just get that video so you can get more of an education if that calls you. Just because I did mention it on the show. And safe space is very important to me. And then I think just the last thing is like, come say hi. I got the Lauren of Love Instagram and the World Needs Your Medicine podcast, which you are going to be on as well. Super excited. So yeah, come check out me interviewing Victoria. And I thought that was like a really good conversation, by the way. I really enjoyed that. It
And we
was
totally talked
really good.
about like different things.
I
So
know. It's
it's,
great.
you can get a double dose of us.
Yeah, we'll link it both. It's cool.
Yay.
Like your energy is just so special in podcasting. You have a really good gift and I love being a part of
Hmm.
it. So thank you for having me here.
Yay. thank you for being here. If you guys listening have loved this conversation, please like, rate, subscribe, review, share it with another friend who needs to hear. I'm
About
just
syphilis.
so grateful. Yes, needs to hear about syphilis. I'm going to leave you with that this week. Be good to one another. I love you all. Mwah.